My name is Kaleigh Squires, and I am an amateur radio operator. But what exactly is amateur radio? Amateur radio is a form of communication and probably something your grandpa has in his attic. For my project, I did a promotional project where I wrote an article promoting Youth on the Air. And what exactly is Youth on the Air? Our Youth on the Air camp director, Neil Rapp, said, "YOTA is not a formal organization like a club or a foundation. It is a movement to recognize and encourage young amateur radio operators." And why do we need such a movement? Well, ham radio is a dying hobby, quite literally. In Dustin Thomas's 2019 State of the Hobby survey, it was found that almost 60% of all amateur radio operators are over the age of 55. And only about 10% of amateur radio operators are under the age of 35, which means that there is not a younger generation that will rise to fill those roles. And besides amateur radio operators, why would anyone even care? And the reason for it is because amateur radio is crucial in emergencies. The New York City Amateur Radio Service explains that when in an emergency, a disaster such as a wildfire, a hurricane, earthquake, tornado, whatever the case may be, when cell phone lines are either overrun or down and not working at all, amateur radio is the only stable communications service, and only licensed operators can use it, and so it's crucial that we have those operators to operate. And Youth on the Air encourages peers encourage peers. The Western Governors University says to teach another, one must fully understand a concept themselves. Verbalizing a concept and sharing the information with a peer serves to reinforce the knowledge gained. And the reason why peer learning is so important in YOTA is because ham radio is kind of a niche hobby. When I got my license at 11 years old, I didn't know a single other young amateur radio operator until I was about 15. And so for about 4 years, I didn't really care about it. I didn't do a whole lot. I didn't care about my license because I had no peers, no friends to do it with. And my experience with YOTA has been a great one. I have attended camp, the Youth on the Air camp, in 2021, 2022, and this year, 2023. And this year, I even had the opportunity to be one of the leaders and welcome all of the participants from quite literally all over the world. We had participants from the United States, Canada, Germany, Croatia, and Argentina. And this camp this year was held in Canada at Carleton University in Ottawa. And so as I attended camp this year, I was like, okay, what can I do? I've gone to this camp 3 years in a row, haven't really done anything else. And that's when I began talking to my friend and YOTA's public relations specialist, Abikimi Matsuyoshi. And she was the one who got me in touch with the managing editor of QST, which is the main amateur radio magazine in the United States. Talking to Becky Schofield, she kind of explained what they were expecting from an article. And so I was able to write an article on my experience at camp. And then Abikimi sent it to QST and also to TCA, the Canadian Amateurs, which is the Canadian Amateur Radio magazine. And the process of this, I started by interviewing many of the participants, which proved to be a very difficult task as, like I said before, they're from all over the world. And after camp, I was very limited on my contact with them. Luckily, a few of them I was able to interview over online and was able to get some amazing quotes and insights about their experience at camp as well. I then outlined my article and I looked back through our schedules from camp and was able to outline exactly what I was going to write about. And then I spent about 10 or so hours just writing this article, and then I edited it to make sure that it sounded good and was ready for publication. And by the end, I had a published article. I was informed just last night that TCA actually published it in their November-December issue of their magazine. The goal of my project was to promote YOTA for sponsorships because that is the only way we're able to fund these camps. It's a nonprofit organization, and so getting all the equipment we need, like radios, antennas, shacks, soldering kits, all of these things, we need to have sponsors. It's the only way we're able to run these camps and events. I also wanted to spread awareness because, like I said before, a lot of our amateur radio operators are much older, and they may not be aware of such an organization such as YOTA. I also wanted to encourage other youth because, like I said, it's scary to be in a hobby like this when you don't know anyone and there's no one your age, and it's very hard to stick with it. But an article like this just proves that there are other young amateur radio operators, and even those who haven't been able to come to our camp in the past, it'll encourage them knowing that there are people their age that they can talk to on the air. I'm Kaleigh Squires, and my project was on YOTA 73.